Good morning, everyone. I guess good afternoon, really. Welcome. I'm Kristen Engelke. I'll be your guide for today's Bliss Break. If you're joining us for the first time, a Bliss Break is an easy mental exercise you can do to reduce stress, manifest peace, and capture joy in your life. Each idea typically takes less than 10 minutes, it doesn't cost much money, and it can be done anywhere, just about any time. Practicing a bliss break will support you in becoming more aware of the beauty and the abundance that's already present in your life. And by taking a few minutes in every day to acknowledge the power of your thoughts and the purpose of your experience, you can improve your health and well-being. I am so grateful that you've all joined me today. We have a packed house. And I loved listening to the air elements in that song. Just spending a few minutes breathing in and breathing out and listening to the quiet melody. That was really, really relaxing. Today, our topic is the element of air. And so we're going to explore a couple of different things, a couple of different aspects, I guess, of how we incorporate air into our daily life. So I want to give you some ideas. Recently, I was on a provider call with a bunch of different, a myriad of healthcare providers, and the woman who was presenting was talking about yoga laughter, or laughter yoga. So you might Google it or look it up, and essentially her theory is that laughter is really good for us and it's very healthy for us. And she discussed all the science behind the endorphins and actually in serotonin that gets released when we laugh. And her the way that she dealt with insomnia was to laugh, even if it wasn't out loud. If you pretended that you were laughing, your body would think you were laughing and you would release these endorphins. It was really cool. I encourage you to look up yoga laughter or laughter yoga and see what you can find. But that made me think of the breath and of the element air. So some of the other ways that we use air in our everyday occurrences, we heat our homes with air in our cars. That blowing warm air warms our bodies. We also cool our bodies in much the same fashion, often with air. Air is a necessary element in order to have fire, another important element. And one of the most powerful ways that you can relax your body and decrease cortisol is by your breath, which is air. Every bliss break that we do, I have you sit with your spine straight and your feet on the floor, and we take a couple deep belly breaths, not shallow breaths like we do every day when we're breathing, but deep, in through the mouth or in through the nose and out through the mouth. Deep breaths where our stomach actually expands. Those types of breaths center us. They ground us to the earth. They bring us back into the present moment. And that is really where we find our bliss and where we find our peace, is right here in this moment. Not thinking out into the future of what might happen. That causes us anxiety, or regrets or disappointments that we have experienced in the past, way back in the past, causes us to be depressed. So the ability to be aware and live in the present moment really does bring us peace, and breath is one avenue to that. A couple other ways that we as humans use air as a healing element is smudging, if you're familiar with that technique of creating smoke. Smoke actually does clear the air. It has a cleaning mechanism to it, although that might seem a little counterintuitive. Smudging sage and some other wonderful plant-based materials has been a ritual practice in the Native American culture for a bazillion years. And I know the Catholic tradition uses incense to clean the air in the cathedrals. And I've heard it said that that was less of a spiritual ritual than it was to actually make the environment safe for people, knowing that that smoke would kill off bacteria and bad smells. So I always thought that was kind of fascinating. We also can investigate aroma freedom or aromatherapy. I'm sure you're all familiar with. Well, there is a healing aspect that has been arising and gaining in popularity called aroma freedom technique. And that is the use of our nasal senses and our sense of smell to inhale healing properties, whether it be through essential oils, which is probably the most common. But I would encourage you, even when you sit down for a meal, to sit and take in the aroma of your meal, of the drink that you're drinking, like hot tea. We sip it and we also breathe it in. Another form of aromatherapy. Lighting candles, of course, that's a lovely one, especially if your candles are clean in nature and smell really good. That can elicit a lot of sense of peace and well-being for us. So we're going to take a moment to do a quick bliss break where we're contemplating air. And I'm just going to walk you through that. Again, I'll remind you to put your feet on the floor. If it's safe to do so, close your eyes. You can relax your shoulders. Take a few organic but deep breaths in. And I'd like you to gently move your arms out into space. The pattern doesn't matter. The direction is not important. Almost as if you're slowly dancing about the room, but you're just moving your arms through the air. Continue this for just a moment or so while you pay attention to how the air feels hitting your skin. Keep moving your arms. This movement also increases blood flow. So as we explore the air, we're making our heart work a little bit harder. You can relax your arms, take a deep breath in, and consider other ways that you can contemplate the air. For instance, take a deep breath in, hold it in your lungs for a moment, and pay attention to how your lungs feel filled with air. Express the air from your lungs through pursed lips, paying attention to how the air feels exiting your body. Breathing in, breathing out. This is just the physicality of what the air is doing as it goes into your body and as it exits your body. But what's an even greater miracle is to contemplate that air is a life force. All the miracles that have to happen for your lungs to absorb the oxygen that's present in that air. Keeps your heart pumping, keeps your lungs breathing. It is so fascinating. Another deep breath in where you fill your lungs. And when you exhale, I want you to pay special attention to what the air looks like. Imagine as you breathe out, what does that air look like? Is it colorful? Is it warm? Is it moist? Is it dry? All these different aspects or ways we can describe the air around us. I want you to rejoin me in the room. Take a deep breath, wiggle your fingers and your toes to just come out of your quiet state. And I'll encourage you to explore air a little bit this week. Paying attention, paying full attention to how air soothes you, the role it plays in your life, whether it's the musical tune of the air that enters your ears and you hear music or something wonderful, or maybe you hear the sound of someone you love's voice. Just explore that, spend some time with it. It's very fascinating to me that one of the needs that we have as a culture for taking bliss breaks is that we find ourselves in a constant state of partial attention. I've been studying for a certification, and I seem to study best if I have a little bit of noise over here, or if I'm thinking about something entirely and that's separate from my studying, and I'm reading a book, but yet I'm only giving that book partial attention. So in my waking day, I find myself in constant partial attention to many, many things. And it's made really good multitaskers out of us. But I don't know that that's a positive all the time. I think that the constant partial attention that we're so addicted to can really lead us into times of suffering and challenge and discord or disharmony. So keep that in mind as you're contemplating air this week, and see if you can pay attention just to air. Just focus on the air around you, or the air that you see, or modifying the air that is around you. Those are kind of my thoughts for today. I'm going to pause the recording, but before, or stop the recording so that I can chit chat with everybody. But before I do that, I just really deeply want to thank you all for continuing to support Bliss Breaks and for joining us today. I want to remind you that we do this at 1:30 Mountain Time every Wednesday, so please join us here. Currently, we're on the Zoom platform, and be sure to mark your calendars. Thank you so much. Be well.